The System Clone application allows you to clone a ServiceNow production instance, the source, over an existing sub-production instance, the target. Typically, you would do this to develop and test changes without affecting your production environment. This video demonstrates cloning with the backup-based clone engine, but there are situations where the process cannot use this engine and reverts to the in-app clone engine. See this KB article in Hive for details. Click an item to go directly to that topic, or continue watching to cover all topics. A clone is always initiated from the source instance. To run system clone, you'll need the URL of the target instance that is to receive the clone data, and a username and password for a user with the admin role on the target instance. With the backup-based clone engine, clones are made from the latest backup of the source instance, rather than directly from live data on the source instance. Outside of a go-live situation, cloning over a live production instance is not supported. Also, the target's glide_db clone allow clone target property must be set to true. By default, this property is true for all instances whose names end with test, stage, UAT, and QA, but false for other instances. To check or change this property on the target instance, navigate to the sysproperties table and list properties whose name contains clone. Here's the one we want. And it's false, so we'll change it to true. Now we return to the source instance. Before cloning to a target instance for the first time, we must create a record for that target. We only need to do this once for each target instance. Here we enter the URL for our target instance. And in these fields, we provide the credentials for a user with the admin role on that instance. If the information specified here is not valid, or if it changes after the target record is created, you'll get an error later when you try to submit the clone. Here are a few examples. If you want to create records for multiple target instances, for example, development and test, just add a new record for each of them. Now we're ready to request the clone. For the target instance, we can either enter the URL or look it up. Here's the target instance record we just created. But if we hadn't done that, this list would be empty. No problem. We could create a new target instance record directly from here. For most cloning needs, at this point you would simply click Submit to initiate the clone, because the rest of these fields are all preset with defaults. But let's take a look at them, because there may be cases where you shouldn't use the default settings. By default, audit and log data are excluded. That's because the production instance usually contains a lot of data that isn't necessary for developing and testing new features or system changes, so it makes sense to exclude it from the clone. The excluded data is listed in the Exclude Tables module. You can add or remove tables in this list. If you wanted to include the log data from the Exclude Tables list, you would clear this Exclude checkbox. The same deal applies to attachments. If you want to exclude large attachment data, such as video and binary type files, leave this checkbox selected, but if you want the clone to include attachments, clear it. Theme refers to the instance look and feel. User interface elements such as cascading style sheet, colors, and banner displays. It's common practice for administrators to give their production, development, test, and other instances each a distinct look, so that users don't accidentally interact with the wrong instance. By default, this checkbox is selected to preserve the theme on the target instance. That is, to keep it the same as it was before the clone instead of replacing it with the look and feel of the source instance. If you want the theme from the source instance to overwrite the theme on the target during cloning, clear this checkbox. But be careful, because this could cause confusion about which instance users are logged into. By default, the clone is scheduled a minimum of 4 hours from the time of the request. This built-in delay allows time for the backup to be prepared for use by the clone. The delay also provides an opportunity to notify users of the scheduled clone. You can manually bring this delay down to 2 hours, but no earlier. To schedule the date and time for the clone to begin, enter the values in this field, making sure to use this date format. Or specify them on the calendar. You may want to schedule the clone outside of normal work hours. And finally, this field specifies who will be notified when the clone is completed or canceled. The email address of the logged in user is automatically filled in, but you can add or delete addresses in this field. When we submit this, the system requires that we authenticate the credentials for a user with the admin role on the target instance. If you get a status equals 500 error, make sure the user account has admin privileges on the target instance. The system verifies that the target instance is available. We have administrator rights there, and ServiceNow can write to the target database. Finally, we confirm that we really want to overwrite the target database, and that's it. Our system clone is now scheduled. For more information, please consult our product documentation or knowledge base, or ask a question in the ServiceNow community.